I used to be a Mormon. Once I was transferred to an area that covered part of the San Carlos Apache Reservation in Arizona. My companion and I were given a truck to use, since we traveled through about 5 small towns of 2,000 people each. We drove back at dusk because we had a rule not to stay in those towns after dark for safety reasons. If anyone's familiar with the Superstition Highway and the turnoff to Highway 177, that was the area where this happened. My companion was driving since he'd been in the area for 5 months. He'd been telling me about the place and the towns when suddenly a huge, mangy dog walked into the middle of the road. My companion immediately started to accelerate. I began screaming at him, "What the hell are you doing? You're going to hit that dog." He just told me to shut up and not to look at the thing in the road. As we got closer, it started to look less like a dog and more like a person, but it just sat there in the middle of the road. The truck was doing about 100 kilometers per hour, and when we passed it I made eye contact with that thing. I swear to God it was smiling at me. Its face was indescribable, like someone had found a dead dog by the roadside and was wearing its skin. I tried to turn away and immediately my companion hit me on the arm and shouted, "I told you not to look at it." It took all night to get my companion to tell me what the hell that thing had been, but he didn't. The next day we had a district meeting, and when I told the district leader what I'd seen, he finally told me everything. He started talking about Native American tradition and a brief history of the reservation, and that there's a legend among the natives about something called skinwalkers, someone who has acquired the ability to become any animal. What I saw on the road that afternoon, he said, was one of those. There was a zone conference in Guadalajara, at the stake where the mission offices were. It was a wonderful conference despite the bad weather. When it ended, all the missionaries left the stakes, and as is well known, the hard work is left to the secretaries. Once they got everything put away, the rain started. For those who have been missionaries, it's well known that rain isn't a reason not to move from appointment to appointment, especially if you're a secretary. So they got into the mission van, and on the way they found 2 unfortunate missionaries who'd been unable to reach the bus stop because of the rain. They decided to give them a ride since it was already late. On the way to the missionaries' house, they drove along a straight road surrounded by grassland. Off in the distance there was something unusual. A person was standing in the middle of the downpour, looking up at the sky. He was moving his arms like he was clapping, opening them out to shoulder height and bringing them above his head. He wore light-colored clothes and his expression showed euphoria. When they drove past that man, the driver and the front passenger looked at each other, as did the missionaries in the back. No one said anything until one of them broke the disturbing silence and asked, "Do you feel that?" They all admitted that the most terrible fear they'd ever felt ran through their whole bodies. But it wasn't the fear of having seen a spirit, it was the fear of dying, the feeling that something sudden and immediate was about to happen to them. They finally arrived at their destination without anything happening to them. They said the fear left them, but they suffered nightmares for several days. They said in their dreams they saw their family members in the same scene, in the middle of that road in the rain, making the same gestures the man had with his hands. The difference was that they were drenched in blood. They also said that at night they felt like someone was watching and following them. It was easier to deal with the fear during the day, but not at night. The question is, what did they see, or who were they looking at during those seconds on that rainy afternoon on that lonely road? What was it, really, that made them feel that way for so many days? They never said.